What happens when you take a medium bomber designed for high-altitude precision attacks and transform it into a low-flying ship destroyer, bristling with 8 machine guns in its nose? On March 3, 1943, the Imperial Japanese Navy discovered the terrifying answer during the Battle of the Bismarck Sea. Subscribe for more untold World War II stories. This is the story of how American ingenuity, born from desperation, turned the B-25 Mitchell bomber into a flying gunship that could tear enemy vessels apart and change the course of the war in the Pacific. In 1942, America was losing the war in the Pacific. After the fall of the Philippines and Wake Island, the Japanese war machine seemed unstoppable, reinforcing its vast ocean empire with heavily escorted convoys. In the Southwest Pacific, General Douglas MacArthur's forces were struggling to hold on. Allied bombers, primarily heavy B-17 flying fortresses, attacked these convoys using conventional high-altitude tactics. Flying at 20,000 feet, crews would drop their ordnance and hope that gravity and luck would guide the bombs onto fast-moving ships far below. The results were predictably dismal. Ship after ship reached its destination, delivering fresh troops and supplies to Japanese strongholds. A complete reimagining of aerial naval engagement was needed, not from above, where ships had time to maneuver, but from mast height, where evasion was impossible. The solution came not from a military academy, but from the hands of a grizzled mechanic named Paul Irving "Papy" Gunn. A 6th grade dropout and a self-taught pilot, Gunn had spent 20 years as one of the Navy's rare enlisted pilots. When war broke out, he was running his own small airline in the Philippines. The Japanese invasion changed everything. Gunn's family was thrown into an internment camp while he escaped to Australia. Having lost his home and his family, he was commissioned as a captain in the Army Air Corps, where he became a man obsessed with a single mission: finding a better way to kill Japanese ships. Papy Gunn understood something the High Command didn't. You can't sink ships from 20,000 feet. You have to get down in the weeds, where every bullet counts. Working alongside a North American aviation representative, Papy Gunn began his transformation of American air power. His concept was brutally simple: take a medium bomber, strip out the bombardier equipment, and pack the nose with as many heavy machine guns as it could hold. After experimenting with the Douglas A-20 Havoc, he turned the B-25 Mitchell into his masterpiece. Gunn and his crew scavenged 50 caliber machine guns from crashed fighters and fabricated new mounts. The first modifications carried 4 guns, then 6, and eventually, some B-25s carried an incredible 18 forward-firing .50 caliber machine guns, the concentrated firepower of 3 P-51 Mustang fighters. But the guns were only half of the equation. Pilots were trained in a new tactic called skip bombing. Racing in at just 50 feet above the water, they would release 500-pound bombs that bounced across the ocean's surface like skipping stones, slamming into the sides of ships at or below the waterline, where armor was thinnest. Simultaneously, the nose guns would sweep the decks, suppressing anti-aircraft fire and making it impossible for the enemy to defend themselves. General George Kenney, commander of the 5th Air Force, recognized the genius of the innovation and gave Gunn free rein to modify as many bombers as possible. On March 3, 1943, a Japanese convoy of 8 transports and 8 destroyers, carrying nearly 7,000 troops to reinforce New Guinea, sailed into history. At 10:15 a.m., 13 of Gunn's modified B-25s appeared on the horizon, flying just 50 feet above the waves. As the bombers closed in, their noses erupted in flame. Over 100 heavy machine guns poured fire into the Japanese ships at a rate of 8,000 rounds per minute. The strafing was followed by the devastating impact of skip bombs. The Japanese vessels, designed to defend against high-altitude attacks, were utterly defenseless. In 15 minutes, it was over. 8 transports and 4 destroyers lay sinking or burning. Of the 6,900 Japanese troops aboard, fewer than 1,200 would ever reach land. The Battle of the Bismarck Sea was a slaughter. The Imperial Japanese Navy never again attempted to send a large convoy across the Bismarck Sea. Papy Gunn's innovation had made such operations too costly to sustain. The 8-gun nose B-25 had become the ultimate ship killer, a weapon the enemy never imagined could exist. General Kenny would later write that the battle marked a turning point in the Pacific War, the moment American air power proved it could dominate the vast ocean spaces. At the heart of that victory was the desperate creativity of a man who refused to accept defeat. Paul "Papy" Gunn, the mechanic from Arkansas, changed the course of history with nothing more than salvaged machine guns and the courage to break every rule in the book.